This is the Asus G703GI, the successor to the G703, which was plagued by big price tags and bad battery lives, but incredible performance. We're actually expecting much of the same here, but even more performance. And indeed, on first impression, it delivers. I mean, the power in this thing is ridiculous. You've got an i9 processor, and this version has 64 gigabytes of RAM, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start with the design, and metal armor is what you get right here. It's kind of striated metal, angry looking Asus Republic of Gamers logo, which glows. Open it up and you've got keys with 2.5mm travel. That is excellent for anyone who doesn't know. And there's an aura button so you can customize the RGB lighting on this thing. There is no doubt, this is a serious gamer's laptop. At 4.7 kilograms, this thing is a beefcake, but with that size, you get a fair few ports as well. Around the back, you've got not one, but two power connectors. One power connector will just keep you alive, and the second power connector is gonna charge this thing. On the Plus, it charges pretty quickly, but two power connectors, pretty excessive, especially when you're out and about, and plugs are at a premium. You've also got a display out and an HDMI out as well around the back. On the right hand side, that's where you've got two USB 3.1s, and you've also got an SD card reader. While on the left hand side, you've got a full-size Ethernet port, USB-C or Thunderbolt 3, and you've also got another USB 3.1. There's also a microphone in and a 3.5mm headphone jack out. So with all this size and all this money, because it costs £3,199 as a starting price here in the UK and can go up to over $4,000 if you get the top spec version in the US, what can you expect? Well, our version has a Core i9 processor with 64 gigabytes of RAM, as well as a GTX 1080 graphics card with 8 gigabytes of GDDR5X RAM. But what do those words and numbers actually translate to? Well, a lot of power. 101 frames per second, Middle-earth Shadow of War in ultimate mode. So all the settings ramped up to the max. In addition to that, you've also got power that not only beats its predecessor, but also the best of the best from the likes of MSI. On top of that, the screen is pretty sweet. 144 Hertz refresh rate, G-Sync technology on board. Everything is smooth as butter, and there are virtually no screen tears. The screen's also good at 1080p, though it might be a little bit low resolution for some, but that's no problem, because you can easily output to a 4K monitor. Like I said, stacks of power under the hood. So gaming performance is excellent and the screen looks good, but if you just want raw benchmark numbers, you can check the specifics on TechRadar. I'll mention Cinebench quickly. It benchmarks at 1070 and the graphics specifically around 149 frames per second. But if you flick on the overboost mode, which gets even more power out of all the cores inside this thing, you can boost your performance by about 40%, which is crazy good. Again, which just goes to show this is an expensive laptop, but when it comes to sheer brute force, you are getting what you pay for. Interestingly though, the non-gaming performance wasn't quite as stellar as we were hoping. There is a fair bit of bloatware on here, so everyday tasks will be helped along by a fair few uninstalls. Probably the two areas this laptop falls down the hardest are the amount of noise it makes. It literally sounds like a hovercraft ready to take off, and the battery life. Continuous 1080p video playback was around 1 hour 53 minutes, and PC Mark battery tests scored at around an hour and 30 minutes of regular use, web browsing, etc. And that means that you can't be untethered with this thing for long, even doing simple stuff, let alone hardcore gaming. But if you are a hardcore gamer, you want to take this from tournament to tournament and you don't want your frame rates to drop, this is for you if you have a fair wad of cash to spare. Hopefully you enjoyed this review of the Asus ROG G703GI. For a lot more information, and like I said, all of the specific specs and benchmarks, techradar.com is your destination. Thanks for watching.